Hello, today is Thursday 25th of June. It's the day 22 of this blog. I'm sitting out in my front garden because in my back garden there are people doing the same thing, putting blogs onto Diocesan websites or onto other church websites. Got various people in the house living with us these days, and it's busy, no space. So I'm here in the front garden, and I want to tell you a little bit about our Bible study series that takes place on Zoom on Wednesday nights. We're calling it The Rule of Life in Lockdown, and we are holding each other to account as to how we spend our days and create godly habits. And this week we looked at the Acts of the Apostles chapter 2, where we saw the early godly habits of the early church. So listen to this. Acts chapter 2 verse 42. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to the fellowship and the breaking of bread, and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe, and many wonders and miraculous signs were done by the apostles. And they held everything in common. Amazing. So there we are. That is the early church. I don't know about you, but my experience today and every day is not quite as cool as that. I do manage to read my Bible, look at the apostles' teaching. I do manage to do some prayer, but I also sometimes find myself really tired. There's something about COVID-19, it's in the air, isn't it? So I'm going to read you a couple of poems which say something about what it's like for me. COVID days. Good days are when the bed is abandoned just in time for morning prayer, when the computer clicks and email traffic seems of interest, when the exercise is relished as a training for the future. This day has space to ponder, to make plans and to reflect. Bad days are when the eyes refuse to open and the dreams keep holding on, when arising is a slow daze, when food and booze keep talking, when the big event is the arrival of the parcel sent by Amazon. That day has busyness entwined into the Zoom of pointlessness. Normal days just pass like ships into the night, just seen as radar blips, not viewed nor felt as actual passages of time, just dull enactments of life, half-lived, as Floyd is taken down beside my sins of Colston at the Bristol docks, and our anger is cast out from inner grief. Will COVID days yet be redeemed? Will our crying be assuaged? Will we learn to love the poor, to recognise our privilege? Will we note that we are being instructed to slow down and take more care of planet and of industry, of self as well as stranger? I've got one more poem. I always find my poems are a little bit intimate, and I've only recently started to share them with people or on Facebook, and I'm getting the confidence that some people can handle them. My next one is called Surprised by Grief. I wrote this yesterday because in my prayer time I just kept crying. Hidden grief comes slowly to the surface, leaks through the eyelids, floods the soul, surprises the owner of the body unaware of so much loss. The inner child is hungry for attention, desperate for love, but the adult self is wary of the danger of showing too much need. It's in the silent moments when I find myself alone that the tears and sadness show themselves to me. I escaped into the woods today to find a place to hide, and there I met my anguish flowing freely in the dark. I returned to say my prayers and listen to some music, and in pain I sense God holding all the grief. I cannot see the source of all this loneliness and sadness, this lack of love for other, for all those silenced voices, for Black Lives Matter arising in a scream, for unloved and transgendered, for sexuality in turmoil, for poor around the earth without a drop of water, for a planet that is used, abused, then treated like a goddess, for the old abandoned beyond technology or forgotten in a home, and for me, confused and useless. God's love appears within the sound of crying, his arms unfolding all the broken, all the lost, and God says, I love you, and I'll lead you to create a place where all are loved.